In many instances, when we are trying to create compelling and immersive artworks, it's the smaller details that start to matter, and this may require us to actually learn and pay attention in terms of how to represent these smaller structures that often are overlooked as best we can. With that being said, today's video is about how to draw a very unique and very versatile structure, and that is a set of stairs. So with that being said, hey guys, my name is Matt. Welcome to another video by artincontext.org, where we explore various art-related topics, and in today's video we will be learning how to draw a set of stairs, more specifically how to draw a set of stairs using two-point perspective. So with that being said, let's get into it. Now, learning how to draw stairs is simple, although it does require an engagement of each step in order to have an accurate outcome. The process starts with an establishment of a two-point perspective and a horizontal line, which we will then move on to creating a set of guidelines that will help us to establish the staircase in their correct form. Once we have accurately drawn the stairs using the two-point perspective guidelines, we will then proceed to add shading to the drawing, giving it a more realistic quality. From there, we will add some shading with our pens to heighten the contrast a little more, and otherwise guys, that is the general process in terms of what we're in store for. So the way in which we can start is by simply drawing a horizon line. Now, the way in which we begin by drawing the horizon line is we do this by taking our ruler and a pencil and drawing the horizontal line through the middle of the page. Now, as we proceed from here, we can draw three dots, one towards the left and right side of the page to indicate the two vanishing points. We will then add the third dot in the middle of the two vanishing points. The second thing we can then move on to is drawing the guidelines using the right vanishing point first. So from here, we will create a set of guidelines using the vanishing points to create our staircase drawing. We can start by drawing a vertical line through the center dot on the horizon line, creating a cross-like shape or a perpendicular cross-section of lines, which then can be divided into even increments. So this will indicate how many stairs we will have within our staircase. Once we have our vertical line marked with the points in even increments, and that's really up to you, you can decide how many increments you would like to establish within your staircase. We can now draw a line from the top of that vertical line to the vanishing point on the right side. We want to make sure we use our rulers to draw these lines. Again, in terms of establishing these guidelines, we want to keep them as straight as possible, because again, a stair structure is a straight or straight edge structure, so we do want to make sure those lines are straight. From there, each dot along the vertical line, we will proceed to draw a line to the same vanishing point on the right of the horizon line. We want to make sure we use our ruler to draw these lines. All the dots along the vertical line should be the same in measurement, which is entirely up to you in terms of how large you'd like that measurement to be. We should have a set of lines moving towards one of the vanishing points on the right side of the horizon line at this point. From here, we can now draw a parallel vertical line along the right side of the first vertical line. This parallel line should stop between the top and bottom diagonal line that connects the first vertical line to the vanishing point. We will find that the two vertical lines have created a row of blocks through the center of the page. From here, we want to draw a steep diagonal line starting from the bottom of the first vertical line and running through the corner of the first block from the bottom of the page. Now, this diagonal line can run all the way through to the top of the diagonal line that runs from the top of the first vertical line to the vanishing point. Now, as we proceed along the steep diagonal line, we can draw a set of little vertical lines which will run along the steep vertical line from the bottom to the top. These lines will indicate the steps a little more clearly and should be drawn between the steep vertical line and the lines that connect between the first vertical line and the vanishing point. Just make sure you take your time utilizing these guidelines. Again, it's very simple. It is easy to kind of get complicated through the terminology, but as you kind of see the process unfolding visually, you can see how it starts to make sense in terms of how to utilize these guidelines to create a staircase. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start to define the right side of the staircase, which is going to be quite present in terms of the angle at which we are drawing our staircase. From here, we should have a clear vision of how the steps are present from the right angle. So, however, we can make them a little more visible by taking a darker pencil and beginning to outline the shape of the staircase. You can do this by drawing a base however long you would like the staircase to be along the bottom line between the first vertical line and the vanishing point. From there, we can proceed to kind of drawing the guidelines using the left vanishing point. So we should have one side of the staircase adequately visible at this point. We can now proceed to connect the visible staircase to the left vanishing point. And again, this is just going to give our staircase a little bit more depth. So as we continue, we can now proceed to connect the visible staircase to the left vanishing point. So we start by drawing lines from the bottom 3 corners of the staircase to the left vanishing point. This will create the inner and outer edge of the first step. So as we proceed and as we draw the straight lines between the first 3 corners of the staircase and the left vanishing points, we should see the staircase forming into a 3-dimensional structure at this point. From there, you can draw a vertical line anywhere between those first 2 lines to define how wide or how deep you would like your staircase to be. This will have helped us to establish the base of the staircase. We can now follow the same process of connecting every corner of the staircase to the left vanishing point. And this is basically going to establish all the right angles or the hard edges of our stairs within our staircase structure. Again, this includes every corner, inner and outer corner of the steps within the staircase. As we continue to the end of adding the lines between the corners of the staircase to the left horizon line, it should appear as if we have a very wide staircase. From here, we will start to form the staircase using vertical lines. So starting from the vertical line you drew to define the width of the staircase along the bottom 2 lines connecting to the left vanishing points, we can then proceed to kind of use that as an indication that defines how wide our staircase should be. We will see that we can use the staircase's vertical and horizontal lines that define the steps to help us draw the lines for the other end of the staircase. Make sure that as you draw these lines, you are using the lines between the corners and the left vanishing point to guide your mark making process. From there, we can move on to defining the whole staircase. So we should see that the staircase is visible at this point, as we should have a staircase sketch likely present by now after utilizing the guidelines and the vanishing points. We can now proceed to outline the shape of the staircase using a darker pencil or a darker medium, so that's completely up to you, but this is just going to make our staircase slightly more visible. So from here we can basically proceed to outline the entire full staircase structure for a second time using a darker medium, maybe something like ballpoint pen, and this is just going to help us really define the actual staircase structure. Now, as we move on, we can start to actually incorporate some shading into the staircase drawing. So we should have a realistic staircase drawing by now, to which we can begin to add shading. We can start to shade the structure by taking maybe a lighter pencil, something like a 2B pencil, and add some light shading to the different surfaces available. When shading in a 3-dimensional structure, we do want to distribute 3 different tonal values to 3 different dimensions visible. So when we think about it, we can see the side of the steps, we can see the top section of the steps, and then we can see the actual side of the entire staircase structure. Now the idea is to basically incorporate a different tonal value into those different or 3 different surface areas that are visible. So we can have one tonal value for the side of the steps of each step within our staircase structure. We can have a lighter tonal value, maybe even leave it negative for the top section of each step within our staircase structure, and then we can make the side of the entire staircase slightly darker, ultimately giving it a more realistic representation of how light is interacting with our staircase structure. But otherwise, guys, this is the general process of how to draw a staircase. Very simple, very easy, and very unique to utilize the rules of perspective to create something interesting. Again, when it comes to creating compelling and immersive environments, it's really important for us to pay attention to the smaller details, and that does require us to understand how to draw certain structures. And a staircase is a really versatile and very useful structure that can be incorporated into so many different artworks. So it's not just always about the actual focal points or the subject matter that you're drawing, but it's also a matter of the surrounding features and how to represent them and keep them as realistic or as compelling as the actual artwork or focal point itself. But otherwise, guys, this is the general process of how to draw a staircase. I hope this was really simple and really fun to follow. I hope it's also useful and can be used in your own artwork. If you are interested in similar related topics where you want to learn how to draw these simple and basic structures, please let us know in the comment section below. We'd love to do a variety of different simple structures that you can know how to draw effectively and accurately, and therefore be utilized in your own artwork. Please do like the video, please drop a subscribe. This really helps us to grow the channel, which ultimately enables us to make more art related content for you guys. Otherwise, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, cheers.